Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again. It's Wednesday. A couple things to talk about today. We got a lot to get to today. I'm going to make it into a Wednesday mosh because Monday we had our tool tote challenge, which came out fantastic. But of course, as every other challenge, I missed a couple entries. Somehow, you know, they get put in the junk mailbox or something else. And so if I did miss your entry, I do apologize, but send it in by tomorrow at 6 p.m. and I will put it in Friday's video. We already got a couple that I already spoke to. I apologize, Chuck and John Crane and some other people, but 357 Magnet. So we'll have those in for Friday's video. And if you did send one in and I didn't get to it or whatever, please resend it by tomorrow and I'll have that in. First of all, speaking of which, again, the contest was great. And I want to talk a little bit about photography real quick. And for the simple reason, a lot of people ask me, they say, you know, what kind of camera you use? You know, you got a pretty clear camera. But I'm using obviously my phone. It's an iPhone 6 and it's already 6 or 7 generations old. But you know, one of my first hobbies was photography. I remember joining the photography club in high school. And back then, you know, if you took a bad picture, I mean, everybody could tell. But today the cameras are so fantastic. Phone cameras and cell phone cameras and digital cameras are so good that they take all the guesswork out. But there's a lot of times you can make your cameras a little better. The first thing I would have to say is to clean your lens. Every time before I come down here and shoot a video, I take a cotton swab and I clean the lens of my phone. And you should do this all the time because there's a haze that builds up on the lens of your phone or your camera. So if you don't clean it, you tend to not get as sharp of a picture. Secondly, lighting. Let me talk about that for a minute.
Now, years ago with our cameras, you know, there were two things that was really important. And one was underexposure or overexposure. So if you didn't have enough light, that would be considered an underexposure. And if you had too much light, it was an overexposure. And that was what probably the biggest hassle when you were trying to learn photography was getting that balance correct. Now, with these new cameras, they have auto sensors and auto darkening that you never really have to worry about overexposure. We still always have to worry about not enough light, but never too much of overlight. And I'll tell you why. Here is a clamp light. Now, if you don't have one of these, you should go up and pick up a bunch of these. These are probably the best, most economical addition to your shop that you can have. Forget about the big fluorescent lights, the shop lights and everything, because they're great to have, and a couple of them in the shop is invaluable. But the problem is that you're kind of restricted with them. So you get a few of those, but then you fill in your dark areas all around the shop with these, because you can vary these, you can control them. First of all, I have an LED bulb in here, and it only uses about 9 watts, you know, which is nothing. And again, you could clamp these wherever you need the extra light. Now, I have, if you look here, this is when I'm normally filming my tool restorations. This is what you see. You see the 2 clamp lights up there. That's what I have all the time, and that's what I'm using now. Now, I'm going to show you the difference when I cut out the clamp lights. Here I have one to the left. I'm going to shut that off, and I have one to the right. And I shut that off. Now, this is what my videos would look like normally without the additional clamp lights. And you can see it's not quite as, you know, appealing, you know. So you throw in a little bit of extra light. You never have to worry about having too much light, because one thing about these clamp lights is they really fill in the area. And here's the other thing I was talking about, auto darkening. Now, years ago, if I was to turn this light on, it would totally blank out the screen, correct? Watch what happens. I turned it on. You see how it just readjusted? Now look at it. I mean, you could still look at the bulb. It's not over saturated with light. That's because it has the auto darkening. See that? See, it's darkening right now. So that's why you can never have too much light. The more light, the better for all your projects and all your photography. Lastly, never, ever, ever shoot in portrait mode. Always shoot landscape. Unless you're shooting the Eiffel Tower and you're only 50 yards away, never, ever shoot in portrait mode.
So that's it. Those 3 things: clean lens, shoot in landscape, and always have enough lighting. And try and keep the lighting a little bit on the warm side. You know, don't use that real bright, high Kelvin lighting, that bluish light. That's not appealing to most people. So those 3 things, and you'll shoot much better, and you'll really enjoy it too. Speaking of old phones, let me show you something I dug up
I happened to be going through one of my drawers today, and look at this. You know what this is? This is my first cell phone. I made this cell phone carrier. This is a kind of a snake that I tooled in leather, but this was my first cell phone. I remember because I really never wanted a cell phone. My sister kind of dragged me into this century by buying me this, but this was years ago, my first cell phone. Remember these old flip-up types? And you know, this will be an antique one day, but that's funny. Some people, you know, flip-up phones are great because these things always worked, but they don't have this, you know, the same camera or features as the newer phones. But there's nothing wrong with these phones because, like I said, they really worked everywhere. I never had a problem getting a signal, whereas today, you know, it depends.
What's great about those old cell phones is when the battery died after a year or two, you go on eBay, and for $6 you got another battery, you know, where try that today with these phones today. And you replaced it in 2 seconds. You know, you didn't have to take the whole phone apart. Next up, speaking of, you know, a lot of people were saying that what they enjoyed about the tool tote, one of the things they enjoyed about that challenge was the fact that there were so many youngsters involved. And that is what I kind of want this channel to gear towards, is, you know, to novices and young people. I would love more people to get into this hobby. So speaking of that, I want to show you something that if you don't have, you should pick up for somebody, a youngster in the family.
Now, I promised a while back that I would do a review on the newer Craftsman screwdrivers, but I really never got a chance to because I'm always using my old ones. But this here is the Craftsman. It's their 5-piece one. This thing runs $10. So it's 5 pieces. So that's, you know, basically $2 a piece. And that's extremely inexpensive. And what I like about this is obviously it's got the lifetime warranty and stuff, but you can see where it's made here. It's made in Taiwan. Okay, now, you know, China, the problem with Chinese manufacturing is that you got half the country putting out decent stuff and you got half the country trying to scam us. And the funny thing is that their reputation is worldwide as far as, you know, you can't trust what comes out of China. And it's a shame. But Taiwan is going the way of Japan. They will not put out stuff that's junk. And so you can, whenever I see a tool that's inexpensive and it's from Taiwan, I don't even think second, I buy it. But when it's something from China, I can't tell you how many times I put back items that I wanted to buy. I saw it was China, I put it back because I will not buy it unless I know for a fact that, you know, I did a review or something like that, or I've had it before. But you can't, it's tricky. It's very tricky. So let's talk about these screwdrivers. And the first thing I'm going to do is, obviously it comes in this clamshell packing, and you know this stuff is always dangerous. And when I was younger, you know, I would take my utility knife, and I can't tell you how many thousands of people get injured by this every year, clamshell packaging. So you know, it took me a while to figure out how to do it right. And the way to open them up is to take a pair of any kind of shears you have and make small cuts along the side here, small cuts every every inch, you know, a couple inches like this. Just small cuts along the side like this. And I'll show you why you do that. Once you make the small cuts, when you cut up this way, the clamshell packaging will break away. You see how that piece broke away here? And it won't come up and cut you even when you're cutting it. So you make those cuts all the way around, and then you follow this up like this. And that's the easiest way I found to get through this clamshell without have any injuries or cuts. So let's do that and see what we have here. Now, if you have a son or a daughter that's getting older, moving out on her own, or you have a nephew or something, this, you have to get them this set. You know, this is such a great starter set for them, or even for yourself as a spare set for the car or something. And like I said, for $10, how can you go wrong for these? And let me just show you what's so nice about these. And look at like I said, the cobalt blue. That blue is such a beautiful blue on there. I don't know. It's much nicer than the painted one that came with the American-made ones. Cobalt blue here. It's got a crystal clear acetate handle. It's just beautiful. You look at the work. You could tell it's really well made, you know. And it's, you know, they use the chrome vanadium. They have the slotted here so it don't slip. I tell you, I'm really impressed with the, you know, again, for the price, you know, they're not like a Japanese or German made or USA made screwdriver for that fact, but you look at that. It's just a beautiful screwdriver, and I would implore you to pick these up. Lifetime warranty, like I said, you can't beat it for the price. These are actually the 4 most used sizes. But there's one other one I would tell you, if you can, pick this one up too while they're still available. And that is this screwdriver here. This one here is a fantastic size, one that a lot of people don't have in their toolbox. Here is the here's the model number here. You can see over here is the actual model number, okay? And this one here, again, made in Taiwan. You can see up here, made in Taiwan. So it's this is, let me pull it out here to show you what it is. Okay, and you don't have to cut anything to take this out. It's just held in there by 2 O-rings. They're rubber O-rings, which, you know, I'll dig them out and put them in my O-ring case. But look at that. Is that not a beautiful size? I mean, this is just a great size. It's a full-size handle with a short blade. Now, 9 times out of 10, you don't need that long blade when you're screwing in. I don't know why there's so many long blades on screwdrivers when, you know, most times you're very close to the work. So take a look at this. Again, here's the model number. These are available. You can get these at, you know, Lowe's or whatever. Just next time you're there, pick one up. And I'm telling you, these will be collectible one day. Guaranteed, because eventually it'll stop making it such a great idea. It's an oddball screwdriver. Nice one. Pick it up. 2 nice O-rings for future use that come with the packaging. Next up, I can't tell you how many times I have people ask me about what's a decent drill set to pick up. And I'll tell you, this one here I've had really good luck with. I have one over there that I've been using for years. So a couple drill bits got misplaced or whatever. So I'm buying a new one while they still make it. This particular one here is the model number. It says DW1341. I'll put the link in the description. Not an expensive drill set, but this one is a quality drill set. Unfortunately, it is made in China. However, like I told you, you get half that's good, half that's bad. So you only buy the stuff you know is good. These are a real good set. Let me open it up, show you what's involved. Okay, now I bought a very similar set, like I said, to the DeWalt years ago. They're all basically the same, probably the same manufacturer, same company. But one thing I found is that with these DeWalts, the one thing, they come in different sizes, you know, all different kit amounts and different types of cases. But you have to keep an eye on what they are and go by the reviews. The reviews are really important. But then again, sometimes you can't trust. Sometimes once they get a good thing going, they'll slip in some... You know, that's what I mean. So these I know for a fact. I've like I said, I've used these before. And what I like, this one particular case is nice because the drill bits, they pop out like this. You see, you pull it forward like this. It's kind of a rubberized. It's not that hard plastic, you know. So when you put them back, you put them just down like this and you press it forward and it stays secure like that in the case. So I like that. These have the round shanks all the way up to 3/16. Once you get to 3/16, it starts with the flats. You get the what they call flats on the drill bit. You see there? There's 3 of them, and that's so that the chuck can grip them and they don't spin as easy. You know, it depends what you're using. Keyless chucks, it really helps, but I'm not a big fan of keyless chucks. You know, I do like keyed chucks, but you can see here how the tips are ground. Very nice grind on the tips. We'll try them out in a minute, but it's a good economical. I mean, for the price, you get what you pay for a lot of times, but these do hold up for a long time, especially in metal, which is what I use them, and I use a lot of cutting fluid. But let's try them out on stuff. Okay, we're over at the drill press. Remember, you don't want too much space between the drill bit and the work, so you adjust your table height accordingly. Secondly, We're bringing it down past, we're not going all the way down, so we have our drill stop here, so it can't go further than there. We'll just drill through the wood. We're going to try it on a piece of pine first, and I got it on slow speed. We'll see how it works. There we go. Beautifully clean, right? It's nice when you're using a sharp drill bit. That's why every so often, even though you think your drill bits are sharp, you should, you know, change them out, get some drill bits to use for certain things, and it's really nice to have a new set. Next up, we'll try it in a piece of aluminum channel. Now, I already have a hole in here. Usually, you pre-drill a smaller hole with tougher materials, but this is supposed to have a split point on here, which is supposed to help start. So we'll try it on here, and I always use a little bit of cutting fluid, especially to always keep my drill bit. So let's try it here on the edge here. Okay, another nice hole, clean hole. And again, you know, that was without a pilot hole. If you were going to use a pilot hole like the one next to it, it would go through a little bit easier. Again, I'll show you how that works. Now you can see with a pilot hole, it always goes through easy. So it cuts aluminum very quick. So I'm sure I'll go through steel just as well. These are nice. One other thing I'd like to point out is notice the bits are engraved. They're not laser engraved, and they're stamped like engraved. And you know, I always notice whenever you get a tool that is stamped engraved or something like that, it's usually a higher quality tool rather than just printed with an ink stamp. Okay, last thing I want to say about these drill bits is they say they're titanium. They're not made of titanium. The coating on there, that goldish coating, is called the titanium nitride coating, and that is a fantastic coating. It's very slippery. It works really good. I swear by that, but the bits are not made of titanium, so don't worry. Titanium is not a good material for drill bits anyway to be made of. So anyway, nice little set. Check them out.
Okay, next up, a good friend of the show, a good friend of mine by the name of Joe. You know him as Trader Joe, and that's Charlie's owner, Charlie the Wonder Dog. You remember him? Well, Joe sent me we're always going back and forth about tools and things like that. Joe sent me something he picked up, and of course I had to have it because it's such a cool thing. And I said, you know, here's a tool that's overlooked by all of us, but we use all the time. Let's go check it out, see what I'm talking about. Now, here's a tool I'm sure everybody owns, and we take it for granted. The Humble Nail Clipper. Now, let's take a look at here. This is a beautiful, this one here is a Wilson. And you can see here, Wilson Ross is the name. Could you see that there? And this one here was, obviously this is very old. This is not a Asian marketed or Chinese made tool. This was my girlfriend's grandfather's. He had a couple new old stock that he had, and she gave me one. And obviously, it's just a nice tool, but you can't find these anymore. They make knockoffs, and you could tell anybody that's ever used one of these before, one of the problems you have sometimes is this level will separate after a while or whatever, or they get dull. But when you can find a good one, these are good, and they do work well, but there's some, you know, things about it. Then there's many different types of nail cutters. Then you have the professional ones, and look at these here. What's nice about these have been in my family for many, many years, but you know what's cool about this? When you squeeze the handle, watch what happens to the keeper. Okay, I'm going to squeeze it. The keeper, so in other words, you don't have to fuss with it. You could use it all the time. When you finish using it, you push this down like this, and it stays, the keeper will stay in here. Let me just get it right. There we go. It'll stay in here like that until you squeeze it again. So once you squeeze it, it automatically kicks up and opens. I like that. These are very good. A lot of professional podiatrists use these and whatnot. But again, you know, it all depends what they're hard to kind of get to. Let me show you a really cool thing that Joe showed. Okay, so here it is. Joe showed me this link, and of course I had to pick it up. This is called the No-Mes fingernail and toenail clipper set. Now they do come individually. I got on Amazon. Made in the USA, made in actually Troy, New York. Pretty interesting because for the simple reason that this
has one feature that you don't usually see in other clippers. And here we have the clippers. What it comes in a little case in that box, and we'll take out the toenail clipper first. I'll show you how it works. You can see here, No-Mes, patented. On the back it says Made in USA, Troy, New York. And how you operate them is you open up the lever like this, you close the little hatch, and this little, you see that little tab there, rides on top of the hatch, and that's how it operates. Now you can see here we have some you know, toenail type articles here, and you can see how easily, you know, this will clip, and it works very well, you know, clip in here. Now, but here's the interesting part. When you're finished here, you flip this hatch open, and there are all your toenails or whatever you clipped off. So you could take them, you could save them in a jar for your grandchildren or whatever. But really interesting how this one works. The fingernail clipper is a very similar design, a little bit smaller, and you could see here, you close the hatch to operate it, and then that's it, it's ready to go. And then if you were clipping some let's say fingernails or something, you would place it here, and you could see that it would clip. You could clip the corners, you could clip the sides, and it saves all of the clippings inside of that little hatch. You see, open up that hatch, and here are your clippings in here. So pretty interesting, you know. Like I said, if it's they call it No-Mes, and unconditionally guaranteed. Something that you know, I just thought was interesting because you don't find USA tools anymore. They're not super cheap, obviously. I think it was like $26 for the two of these, but when you buy an $8 clipper, be prepared to buy one every year because they do get dull or whatever the case may be. This, you know, at least, well, we'll see how long they stay in business, but hopefully forever. And you have a lifetime warranty, made in the USA.
So in closing, that was one heck of a mosh today, wasn't it? We covered a lot of stuff. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. I'll see you again on Friday. Remember, if I missed your totes, send it in to me by tomorrow, 6 o'clock, and I'll put it up for Friday's video. Thanks so much. Take care now. Bye-bye.